Let us now look at a boundary value problem and set it up as a system of algebraic equations using finite difference approximation method. We can then solve it as well. So consider this ordinary differential equation that we have seen in the past. So the dependent variable is theta, the independent variable is psi, and heat balance for heat transfer through a constant cross-sectional area fin results in this ordinary differential equation based on some assumptions regarding the phenomena, etc. And the associated boundary conditions are given to be theta equals 1 at psi is equal to 0. This is the left boundary, and theta is given to be 0 at psi is equal to 1, which is the right boundary. So psi is equal to 0 is the left boundary, psi is equal to 1 is the right boundary, and theta at this point is 1, theta at this point is given to be 0. So these are the boundary conditions that are given. So using all this information, the boundary conditions and the governing ordinary differential equation, we are to find out theta as a function of psi numerically. That means we will find out the value of theta at select points psi in the domain between 0 to 1. Now for simplicity and for demonstration purposes, we will assume that this set of parameters is equal to 1. That means HPL squared by K is equal to 1, in which case the ODE reduces to this, a second order ODE, and the boundary conditions are these as listed earlier. Kindly note, this is a linear second order ODE. You can examine the individual terms in the ODE and you can conclude that it is going to be a linear ODE, and the highest derivative is the second derivative, therefore it is a second order linear ODE. The boundary conditions are also linear. So you can right now say that after applying the finite difference approximations, you are going to get a system of linear equations that you can solve using the backslash command in MATLAB or by using LU decomposition or Gauss-Seidel. Let's see what happens. Now, for demonstration purposes here, I'm going to choose a step size of 1 by 4. That means I'm going to choose h is equal to 1 by 4. So basically, I am breaking this domain into 4 equal subdomains. So I'm choosing n is equal to 4 here. If I were to use a computer to solve it, I will use n is equal to 40 or 25 or 100. But because I'm just showing this concept for the class, I'm just choosing n is equal to 4. So when n is equal to 4, you can see h is going to be equal to 1 by 4 because the left boundary is 0 and the right boundary is 1. So I'm going to label the grid points as psi 1, psi 2, psi 3, psi 4 and psi 5 as we move from left boundary to the right boundary. And as you can see here, psi 2, psi 3 and psi 4 are the internal grid points. So there are 3 internal grid points, psi 2, psi 3 and psi 4. There are 2 boundary grid points which are psi 1 and psi 5. Total of 5 grid points corresponding to n is equal to 4. Now, what we do is we replace the derivatives by their finite difference approximation. And since here we have only the second derivative term, I'm going to replace the second derivative d2 theta by d psi squared with its finite difference approximation. I'm going to choose the central difference approximation for psi 2, psi 3 and psi 4, a 3-point central difference approximation. That means I'm going to choose this approximation. So instead of d2 theta by d psi squared, I can replace it by theta I plus 1 minus 2 theta I plus theta I minus 1 divided by h squared, and the error as a result of this approximation is going to be of the order of h squared. That's what you see here. So at grid point I, I'm going to be able to replace this derivative by its finite difference approximation, which is given on the right hand side. So at grid point psi 2, d2 theta by d psi squared at I is equal to 2 will be equal to theta 3, because theta I plus 1 is theta 3 minus 2 theta I, which will be theta 2, plus theta I minus 1, which will be theta 1, divided by h squared. That is what is going to be the replacement for d2 theta by d psi squared at I is equal to 2 at grid point psi 2. And that is what we have here for the second derivative. Then there is this minus theta term, right? There is this minus theta term in the ODE. And we are talking about psi 2, location psi 2 here. Therefore, we replace theta by theta 2. So the second derivative has been replaced by a central difference approximation. Theta is being replaced by theta 2 because we are talking about the grid point psi 2. So at psi 2, the value of theta is theta 2. We do not know what the value of theta 2 is, but we will find it out. Again, we do not know the value of theta at psi 3. We will just call it as theta 3. We do not know the value of theta at psi 4. Therefore, we will call it as theta 4. But we do know in this particular problem, because of the nature of the boundary conditions, that theta 1 is equal to 1, because theta at psi is equal to 0 is given to be 1. So we know theta at psi 1, which is theta 1, to be 1, and we know theta 5, which is theta at psi 5, that's given to be 0, because the boundary condition says so. Theta at the right boundary, which is psi 5, theta at psi 5, which is theta 5, that is equal to 0. And theta at psi 1, which is theta at psi is equal to 0, is given to be 1. Therefore, theta 1 we know is 1, theta 5 we know is 0. In this problem, we have three unknowns, theta 2, theta 3, and theta 4. Once we find theta 2, theta 3, and theta 4, we are through. We have solved this problem. Now, if you choose h is equal to 1 by 40, that means you're using n is equal to 40, then you will have 39 unknowns. Theta 2, theta 3, theta 4, theta 5, all the way till theta 40. That would be the situation then if we had used h is equal to 1 by 40 or equivalently n is equal to 40. But for this illustration purpose, we do not know theta 2, theta 3, and theta 4. We know theta 1 and theta 5 because the boundary conditions are explicitly given to us in terms of theta. So anyway, at internal grid point psi 2, we have this equation. So this is the approximation of the ordinary differential equation. Kindly note that this is algebraic. The ODE is gone. There is no d by dt term or d by dx term or d by d psi term, etc. That's gone. All you have is symbols that are connected by algebra. So we have one algebraic equation here. Now, if you apply the same idea to grid point psi 3, so the second derivative will be replaced by this. Kindly verify that. The theta term in the ODE will be replaced by theta 3 because we are talking about psi 3. And the right hand side of the ODE is given to be 0. Therefore, this is 0. So this is the algebraic equivalent of the ODE at grid point psi 3 based on central difference approximation for the second derivative. The error for this approximation is also of the order of h squared. And at the internal grid point psi 4, you can write the ODE in terms of the finite difference approximation. All right. So now we have three equations here. Equation 1, equation 2, and equation 3. And you see five symbols. Theta 1, theta 2, theta 3, theta 4, and theta 5. We know theta 1 to be 1. We know theta 5 to be 0. That's given in the problem via the boundary conditions. So the unknowns are, as I said earlier, theta 2, theta 3, and theta 4. And we have three equations in three unknowns, so we can solve it. We know the value of h. H is 1 by 4. So what you can do is you can take the first equation. So you can take the first equation and now use h is equal to 1 by 4 and do a bit of algebra, and you can reduce it to this equation A. Kindly do that and see. So in this process, I've also applied the fact that theta 1 equals 1. That has also been used. Now, if you take the second equation and you kind of put the value of h is equal to 1 by 4, and then you kind of rearrange the symbols and therefore the equation, you will get this equation B. So all I've done here is I've taken this, you have seen this equation before, and then you multiply throughout by h squared, which will result in this equation, and then you apply the fact that h squared is 1 by 16 because h is equal to 1 by 4, and then group similar terms together. So theta 4 and theta 2 appear only once. This theta 3 will be minus 2 plus h squared theta 3 together, right? So these two terms can be combined into the single term. And then you kind of put theta 2 first and theta 3 next and theta 4 next, you will get this equation B. Similarly, you can work with the third equation that we determined for psi 4 grid point, and then you can use the fact that theta 5 is 0 because it is given in the boundary condition, and then you can reduce it to equation C. So you have equations A, B, and C, and kindly note equation A is linear. The unknowns are theta 2 and theta 3. Equation B is linear. The unknowns are theta 2, theta 3, and theta 4. Equation C is linear, and the unknowns are theta 3 and theta 4. So we have three equations, and you have to solve the three equations simultaneously. And again, the equations are linear because we had linear ODE and linear and very, very simple boundary conditions here. The problem is very easy to set up here. So we can write those three equations that we showed in the previous slides into this particular form. So this is the form AX is equal to B. And we have solved it by many methods: LU decomposition, Gauss-Seidel. We can also use the backslash operator in MATLAB. So it's our choice. Kindly note one other fact, that this is a tridiagonal system. So this is the subdiagonal, this is the main diagonal, this is the super diagonal. Above the super diagonal, everything is 0. Below the subdiagonal, everything is 0. So this is a tridiagonal system, and we learned Thomas algorithm was very effective in solving tridiagonal systems. So you can employ the Thomas algorithm, or if you don't mind about the efficiency of calculation, you can just use backslash operator or Gauss-Seidel or LU decomposition. So the perfect algorithm for this will be the Thomas algorithm because it's a tridiagonal system. So when you solve for theta 2, theta 3, and theta 4 using any of the methods, you will get theta 2 to be 0.7, theta 3 to be 0.4437, and theta 4 to be 0.2151. And then you can plot the results. So theta 1 we know is 1, theta 5 we know is 0. And this is theta 2, this is theta 3, and this is theta 4. So theta 2 is at 0.25, psi is equal to 0.25. Theta 3 is the value of theta at psi is equal to 0.5. And theta 4 is the value of theta at psi is equal to 0.75 because h is 1 by 4. So this gap is 0.25, this gap is 0.25, and this gap is 0.25, and this gap is 0.25. Naturally, if we use more grid points, that means we use 40 grid points instead of 5, we are going to get much higher accuracy for the solution. Another interesting thing about this plot is that we plot both the numerical solution that is obtained, which are shown as red squares, as well as the analytical solution, which is plotted as blue stars. We see the agreement between the numerical solution and analytical solution is very good. In fact, the two are practically indistinguishable. The reason is because this is a linear ODE. You can solve it by hand. Nothing is difficult. You did not need a numerical solution for this particular problem. But we use this example so that we get comfortable with the idea of replacing derivatives by their finite difference approximations. So it serves that purpose. It also helps us to validate that for at least linear problems, the solution that you get by employing the finite difference approximation technique, that means a numerical solution of the problem, gives answers that are identical to the analytical solution. So we feel confident about applying this technique to harder problems, and that is what we will see next. The analytical solution for this problem, if you want to solve it by hand, you can solve it and you can show that theta as a function of psi is of this particular form. Our numerical scheme does not give this kind of an expression. It just gives these values. That's the difference between the analytical solution and numerical solution. However, as said many times earlier, analytical solution is not possible for nonlinear problems, which are often the case in chemical engineering. I'll stop here and catch up with you in the next video. Thank you for your time.